Yeah, this morning we're headed down to the creek. I got a lesson this morning in nature, and this is where we're going. We're going into the creek. Morning, friends. It's a beautiful day. This is a little stream going through the hills near my little cabin. My wife and I live up on the hill. Every day I walk by here on my way to do my exercise up the hill over there. This morning as I was walking, I saw goldenrod just starting to bloom. And when I got back, I told Darlene, I said, look, I saw goldenrod up on the hill. And she said, it's later than we think. Because goldenrod is an indication that midsummer is passed away and that we're headed toward the fall. And so when I got back, we were talking about the goldenrod and it triggered memories. What I thought about was almost 40 years ago, Darlene and I were living in Atlanta. I was drinking myself to death. Darlene was a Buddhist. I was not a Christian. I was as far from God as any man could be. It was not a good life. But you know, I think we both wanted something different, something better. Darlene's father died. He lived in Mentone, Alabama, left us 20 acres of land. Went up and looked at it, and it drew us. It just, something about it was calling to us. We made the decision to move out of Atlanta and move into the country. And it was a good step. When we got there, we were in a Ford station wagon. Here's a picture of the house we lived in, our Ford station wagon. We took some books with us, House Building Illustrated, Roost Out's No Work Gardening book, Wild Food Plant book. We had some books, we had a car, and that's all we had. So we began to build the house, and I'd never built anything before. Darlene had never grown food. She's up planting the garden. I'm building this little cabin, which is kind of crooked, not very straight. And we're having an experience in nature. Of course, when you live in a car, it didn't have a bathroom. So at the end of the day, you're hot and sweaty, you're dirty, you need a shower. And the only thing we had was the creek. Now this is a real picture of the creek where we took our bath. And I took this picture when we went back to Mentone a few years ago. That's where we were. So went down to the creek, a little saucepan, got a scoop of water. Darlene told me to go first. I jumped in, that water was cold. My feet were frozen. I lifted the pot over my head, poured it over, and that was the fastest bath in history I think I've ever taken. So it was invigorating. I jumped out, Darlene jumped in, did the same thing. We had her shower for that night. But you know, as I was in that creek, you know, again, late fall, early winter, I looked up and the leaves were falling off the trees. The color of the bank, it was gray and brown. It looked like early winter. But as I continued day after day to take my bath, then I noticed as spring approached, things began to change. The leaves, the buds started to grow. Then after a time, the leaves started to come back on the trees. I saw hepaticas, different small, these spring flowers starting to bloom along the creek. And I thought, yeah, it's beautiful. That was my thought. It's beautiful. Then the leaves came. It's a summer green looking color. It's what I call spring green. It's green, the flowers are blooming, the spring flowers, and as spring passes away, then you get into summer, and the flowers change. You got Queen Anne's lace, brown-eyed Susans, bee balm, you got the mimosa trees blooming. Those are the things you see in the summer. And the spring green is gone. It's kind of a different looking green. And we're down there in the shower and the creek still taking our bath day after day. And then the fall comes. And as fall approaches, the leaves, of course, start to turn. Then they fall off the trees. Now out in the field, you have goldenrod, bull thistle, ironweed, and it's a change. And then as fall gives way to early winter, I'm in the creek, I'm looking, and I see the same thing that I saw the year before. It's kind of a dull gray, it's kind of a brownish look. And it's been about a year with me taking my bath in that creek. And my dear friends, I noticed that there was an order in nature, that season followed season followed season. And I knew where there was order, there has to be law. And where there is law, there must be a lawgiver. And this atheist, standing naked down in that creek, taking a cold bath every night, was learning a lesson that there is a creator above the creation. And that is our lesson from the book of nature. Where you see order, 1 Corinthians 14:40, let all things be done decently and in order. Where you see order, friends, you know there's law. And anytime you see law, look up. For your redemption draweth nigh, there is a lawgiver. So may God help us to be educated in the classroom of nature with these simple lessons that reveal a sympathetic Savior. God bless you. You have a nice day.